The following program may contain strong language and mature content. Viewer discretion is advised.
So today on the show, lots to talk about. We're going to go from Inglewood Unified School District to a new law in Tennessee where minors can get married. Also, to where a new law in Alabama where it is a felony to even provide medical care for transgender people. Yep, we're going to talk about all that coming up right here. So don't go away. A lot more stories coming right here on The Real Reality. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Larry Ulrich, and hey, we're on episode number 3. So again, welcome to The Real Reality, and there is a lot to dig into. A lot going on in the world, as you guys know. All right, we got to go ahead and get started. City of Inglewood. Now, we all love Inglewood. It's where the new stadium is. Yeah, so now locals are saying that students and taxpayers deserve more from Inglewood Unified School District. Well, what do they mean? Well, let me go ahead and just read it off to you. So, as you all know, 10 years ago, Inglewood ran into some issues as far as financial management, even just management in the classroom, just from principals to vice principals, even teachers. So 10 years ago, the state of California took control of Inglewood Unified School District. So back then, before the 10 years, they had 18,000 people. Now, that's not bad for the city of Inglewood. Now, those around here know that Inglewood is a nice size, but it ain't that big. So 18,000 students in the district is actually really pretty good. So as of today, it has actually been cut in half. So you're looking at about 9,000 students. Actually, it might be a little bit lower because if you guys remember, they're just coming back from COVID. A lot of parents are saying, nope, I do not want my kids coming back. I'd rather for them to stay home. So I would say the 9,000 is probably a little high right now. I would probably say between 8,000 to about 8,500. So this is what they are saying. Well, they're saying that nothing has changed within the school district. Teachers are saying that the classrooms, of course, are not filled as they used to be. Teachers are saying that they are being overworked and, of course, underpaid. Teachers are complaining about the facilities. The facilities need to be upgraded. There go some of the students. Now, we all know looking, and now, again, too, we can look at the food they're eating. That's another problem, too. They need to upgrade the cafeteria because we all know the food is not nutritious. Now, let's just go ahead and put that out there. Also, too, for those that are living right here in LA County, I don't know if you knew, but Warren Lane Elementary, they were consolidating and said closing facilities. So I'm assuming that Warren Lane Elementary is soon to be closed or possibly not in existence. They also went ahead and say taxpayers saying it's poorly management, it's poorly managed, it's disorganized. Also, too, teachers have come forth and said that, they're having mental health issues. And these are teachers saying they're going to work, they're being stressed out, they're taking all this sick leave. So what is Inglewood to do? Now, if I had to put my little 2 cents in, Well, here's what needs to happen. I think they need to get new management. You know, also too, guys, some of you guys that are watching, you're educators, some of you work in the classroom, please leave your comments. You know, we like to read them. We'll definitely post them because we want to get your input on this. But seems like the city of Inglewood, the school district needs to find something that they need to do. I think it needs to be different types of management. I think they need to look back at the budget. I don't think they need to go increase on taxpayer dollars. I don't think they need to pay it anymore. I think they've been paying it. But they need new management, and they need to really get in there. But here's the problem that I find with some of these school districts is that when they get in there, they don't ask the right questions. I think a lot of people get in, they're unfamiliar with the culture. Now, you guys know what I'm talking about. And they want to come into these districts and say, this is what you need to do. Everybody's pointing. But nobody's getting pieces of paper. Of course, nobody's taking surveys. Nobody's asking not only the students, but the community, what is it that you really need? And to me, that's what's missing in the city of Inglewood, especially for the Unified School District. So my advice to them is, please get new management and stop asking just the teachers what they need. You need to talk to the students. Do you need new computers? Do you need better curriculum? What is it? Do the surveys, get new management, and I guarantee you that school district will improve. All righty, moving on. We're going from Inglewood School District all the way to Los Angeles Unified School District. Now, if you guys remember, in January, LAUSD said this. They say, well, in order for your child to come back, they have to be fully vaccinated. Well, what you got? %60, 60. That's very low. You go on their campuses, it was a ghost town. So now, of course, listen, it's called ADA. And those are my educators, again, you know what that means. That means average daily attendance. So every time that a student checks in, they go to the attendance office, they say, oh, Larry Orridge is here. Guess what? That could be $300-400 per student. And that's how the schools are being paid. And they're being paid through the state based on average daily attendance. Well, again, if only 60% of your students were there, well, I guess you can figure that out. So LAUSD has pushed it back. They pushed it back to the fall, but I'm assuming they might push it back to 2023. Well, let's take a look at this video and tell me what you think.
It's the same thing. She's glad other parents will have more time to make a decision.
I feel that they need more time because they don't even know what's going to happen once they get the shot. They don't know the outcome of or the reaction that the kids are going to have towards the shot.
So you think the delay is a good idea?
Well, yeah, I felt that I was forced to make my son get a shot.
Well, the district will still have its mandated vaccine for all those 12 and up, just not yet. They feel they can continue to operate safely while continuing to encourage even more than the 87% student compliance rate so far. A statement released by the interim superintendent on the anticipated delay says in part, together we continue to move toward the best and safest possible learning environment for all students and families.
The decision does make sense from a logistical standpoint.
Jenny Hantz with the parent advocacy group Speak Up is the mom of Max, a vaccinated student. She says this is also an important equity issue.
I think that they made a practical decision to basically ensure that all kids continue to have a right to be educated in the classroom and to get a high quality education. I think it's especially important because we really see the lowest vaccination rates in low-income communities of color.
So the school district will continue to offer vaccines.
Okay, a lot to unpack here. You know, you get these people in these positions, they always talk about equity and low income and people of color and all these different things. Listen, guys, let's just be real. It goes back to what I just said. It's all about that ADA, average daily attendance. Money was being lost. And it just wasn't, and they talking about people of color. Well, that's all LAUSD is. It's mostly Latino and Black. There are very few whites that go to LAUSD. The whites that do go, they are in the Valley, but that's pretty much it. LAUSD is comprised of local district. You have local district Northeast, Northwest, you have South, you have West, you have East, and you have Central. Well, majority again are Latinos. So when she said people of color, well, what do you mean? Let's be more detailed. Well, that's pretty much all the damn kids. Hell, if you guys don't know, all of your LAUSD, even in Inglewood, there was called Title I schools. And all Title I schools mean because of their income, they qualify for a free lunch. But yeah, a lot to unpack with this. You know, I'm thinking about with that mandate now that everything has kind of been eased. My main concern was with the employees as well, because if you guys notice, a lot of employees, I don't know if you knew, but a lot of employees didn't participate in the mandate, and they were fired. A lot of them were on unpaid leave, and that sucked for the student because a lot of them were really good teachers, and the students really needed them. It's not only for in the classroom, it was for emotional support, and that was a problem. And now, what does it mean? The mandate is gone. LA County released it. Hell, you can walk in a place with no mask. So what happens to those teachers? You know, so it kind of sucks that happened. But getting back to this mandate, this is all about money, you guys. This is all about money. They're losing money, so they can't mandate. And the reason a lot of those parents have those kids staying at home is because they don't want their kids to get sick. That's just what this is all about. And that parent was right. A lot of parents feel that the district, the county is forcing them to get vaccinated. Whatever you believe is your belief. But do you feel someone should force you to put something in your body? Should they force you, especially your child? Should they force you to do it? You know, you got to think, guys, a lot of these kids have medical issues, mental issues, and we don't know what the reaction may be. You know, I remember there was a story where, unfortunately, a pizza truck, a food truck came on campus and said, hey, if you get vaccinated, we'll give you a free pizza. And of course, all the kids don't know. They just want to eat anything other than that damn cafeteria food. So they ate. They got the vaccine and they ate. And of course, one of the parents went to the news and it was a problem. She didn't want her child to get vaccinated because he had a severe case of asthma. So hopefully we pray to God that the child is okay. But again, this is a very tricky one. But at the end of the day, it's all about the money. All right, moving on. Karen Bass. You know, Karen is running for mayor right here in the city of Los Angeles. And this is a big issue that's been going on all across LA. Those that live here, those that have visited, guess what? You can just drive anywhere in LA. On the news, on TV, they paint this big Hollywood picture. Movies, lights, camera, action. Everywhere you go, you're going to see us. Don't tell you about the homeless right now. Again, those that live here and those that have visited, you know, anywhere you go, you have tents, and it's getting worse. It's getting pretty worse. Let's see what she said. We're gonna unpack this. How is she going to unhouse? How is she going to house the homeless? Let's take a look.
Homelessness is a local issue for the most part. The mayor of Los Angeles just says he was shocked by the recent report that says it's up 16%. It's up in your district. It's
Yes,
up across this. What role does the federal government play?
So I do believe the federal government has a role to play, and we're part of the problem as well. And so in terms of resources that need to come to the city, investing in affordable housing, one of the reasons I believe the numbers went up is because although we're trying to deal with the existing homeless situation, we need to do more to prevent people from falling into homelessness. So I was mortified to learn that the fastest growing sector of the homeless population in my area are senior citizens. A lot of them are being swindled out of their homes, tricked into making repairs, and then not realizing that they're losing their homes. So we need to stop people from coming in. But there's another problem around homelessness that our city needs to face, and that's NIMBYism, not in my backyard. So I remember in parts of my district on the west side, as soon as the ballot measure was passed, people said, well, we're going to go to court because we don't want any of the housing here. So we have to figure out how, as a community, that we take responsibility for it all over town. We can't just address this issue in one side of town when the tents are all over the city.
True, but a lot of people you talk.
All right. Yeah, that was a clip. It's a lot to unpack. You know, I do want to say thank you guys for tuning in. Those that are here, remember, please comment, please, you know, like this, and just we want to see what you guys think, because you guys are experts as well. And you know, I'm very excited to be here. I just saw someone. Yeah, I appreciate. What's up? Is it Justin G? All right, Justin G in the house, baby. So I want to talk about this point. You guys tell me this. When she said that she went to some of the locals and they said, we don't want homeless housing here. I want to get your thoughts on that. What do you guys think about that? That is a tough one. You know, internally, we empathize, we sympathize with the homeless. We want everyone off the streets. I honestly believe people have a good heart with that situation. How do you feel if you have a building that's been renovated next door to you and is filled with people that are homeless? Now, let's break that down. People are people. No one's better. No one's at a different level than anyone else. But the reality is you have a lot of mental illness involved in homelessness. It's just not sane. You got some sane people there, but you're talking about mental illness. You're talking about substance abuse. You're even talking about, you know, ex-cons. And it doesn't mean they're bad people, but you have people that exit the system. They have nowhere to go, so they end up going to those places because, again, this is community. And imagine you have all of that next door. How do you feel about that? And I'll add something else to it. You have a family with children. It's tough, right? It's tough. So what do you say? What do you do? You know, we'll talk about that a little bit later, but there are ways of battling homelessness. In Los Angeles, again, those that are here, you drive downtown. Downtown is improving, but there are a lot of vacant buildings. The reason I say downtown is much better is because you have those missions down there. You have 3 different missions, maybe 3 or 4. And for those that don't know, those missions, they feed, they even house, they have drug and alcohol, substance abuse programs. They do some excellent work. They even have church service. And to me, you want to center it around where the help is. And I think there's enough space downtown. There's enough empty buildings. I think you can take those taxpayer dollars, you know, put it on the ballot. You know, I believe people will vote for it. But again, when it comes to their community, it can pose a problem. And we'll unpack that a little bit later because, yeah, that can definitely be, it's tricky, right? It's tricky to get it. We want to help, but it's like, well, do you need all that attention next door to me and my family? We'll unpack that a little bit later. All right, moving on. This can be a little bit national, but we're going to keep it local for those that are here in California. Where, as you guys know, inflation, prices are going up, interest rates are going up, and people are getting the hell out. That's right, people are leaving. California has seen a decline in their population, and people are leaving in droves. And we're just not talking about LA County, Los Angeles. No, we're talking about even Sacramento, San Francisco, Oakland, San Diego. People say they're tired, it's too expensive. So they're leaving. Take a look at this video and tell me what you think.
More than 117,000 Californians packed their bags in 2021 and said a permanent goodbye to the Golden State. For the second year in a row, California's population shrank. State officials blame this drop on fewer births, higher deaths, including many linked to COVID-19, and fewer people moving into California. 34 of California's 58 counties lost residents last year, including LA, San Diego, and Orange counties. The California Department of Finance puts the current population at 39.1 million. That's the lowest total in 6 years.
Yeah, people are leaving, and let's go and put up that statistics, the chart, and we can make it bigger. There we go. All right, you guys. Now this is just based. This is the most recent. This is from the California Department of Finance, so it's the most recent. And let's go through it. Now this is mainly Bay Area counties. I don't think we've done the research. I don't think LA County put their stats out just yet because we were very interested in finding LA County. But let's look at this. Contra Costa, well, that increased a little bit. Okay, Alameda, that decreased by 6,500. Santa Clarita, 10,000. San Mateo, 5,800. Marin, 2,600. Yeah, Californians are moving to Texas. That's a good point. I was going to touch on that. You're right. They are moving to Texas. And look, San Francisco, almost 15,000 people. That's a lot of people. So that's you know, it says 182. California is huge, but it's growing. And he's right. People are moving to Texas, but guess what? They're also moving to Vegas. Vegas is closer. You could drive to Vegas. Listen, if you like to gamble, it's perfect. You don't have to worry about transporting all the way to Texas. But he is absolutely key. Listen, both of you, just a G. I'm assuming you are he. We're gonna call it just a G. Is that it? But absolutely correct. It's two states. It's either Nevada or it's Texas. And in Texas, it's usually Austin, Houston, or Dallas. A lot of people move to Houston. Me personally, I'm from Texas. I prefer Houston out of all those cities. Austin number 2 and Dallas number 3. But yes, they are moving because inflation is up. As you guys know, even here, Mel. Okay, there you go. Just all right. We'll say he. He's absolutely correct. People are moving, but listen. I don't know if you guys are homeowners, but the market out here is ridiculous. Just to let you know, in California, people are doing what's called an appraisal exemption. Yes, you know how you purchase a home or you're interested and you get it appraised. Well, the market is so hot. People are going $200,000-$300,000 over the asking price. And this is what they're throwing in there, an appraisal exemption. So they don't even care what it gets appraised for. They just want to buy it. I wouldn't suggest that. That's a little tricky because you don't know what's wrong with the property. You could get it actually a little bit lower. You have a lot of buying power when you get the piece of paper that states what it's been appraised for, so you don't have to overpay. But again, that's California. But here's what I always say. If you own property in California, here's the hard thing. It's hard to get property in California because everything's so expensive. But if you purchase in California, here is the good thing. You can go anywhere in the country and pay cash for a house. It's true. It's true. Now, if I live in Atlanta or I live in Texas, oh, you're in Harris County? Oh, how about that? I'm from Galveston County. That's right. Franchise tax is ridiculous for the business. It's true. So just imagine if you live in Atlanta, because everybody moving to Atlanta, baby. Everybody going over there. All these black people, everybody going over there. You move to Atlanta, buy your beautiful home, you pay $300,000, $400,000, I even give you $500,000. Where in the hell in LA, in California, are you going to stay for $500,000? There's no way. But if you purchase a home here, you can sell it for at least $750,000, $600,000, maybe $1 million. You can go anywhere and just pay cash and still have money in the bank. That's the beauty of California. But again, the downfall is that it's very difficult to live here. And that is the reason why many people are moving out. All right, everybody, stay tuned. We're going to get to national news. But first, we're going to have a quick commercial break. All right, to cover a little bit of the national news. This one hurts me a little bit because she's my favorite actress. I love her. But this one I'm not feeling. I'm sorry. I don't know if she was disconnected. I don't know. But my sister Viola Davis. As you guys know, she's in a Showtime series called The First Lady, and she's been getting a lot of criticism. Of course, the way she has portrayed Michelle Obama. I love Viola. Viola has every role. She can do no harm in my eyes. I still love her. But I did watch this because I have the Showtime, and I said, let me just check it out because I want to support her. And I got to be honest, guys, it was hard to watch. It was hard to watch. Take a look at this and tell me what you think.
Really? John Edwards have Secret Service? What about John McCain, Mitt Romney?
Probably not.
Yeah. You know why? You're a coon. You're a nigger running for president of the United States. So yeah, there's a little difference between you and those other candidates, Barack.
Just, I could be president of the United States. Can you find it in yourself to be a little excited for me?
Excuse me if I can't share in the excitement of my husband potentially being shot.
Okay, so you see the criticism. It was this and talking like this. I really haven't, from my experience, just kind of seeing Michelle Obama just through, the local news, seeing some of her specials. I've never seen her speak like that. You guys leave a comment and tell me what you think. I've never seen it. I've never seen it. I don't know what research did she do to speak like that? I don't know why she moved her mouth, but that was the criticism. Her voice and her lips was a little. We focused on the lips as opposed to her and as opposed to the story, and it was way too distracting. So my sister Viola, again, we all love you. I'm not sure about this role. I would reevaluate it. I don't know if they're going to bring a season 2, but if they do, my sister, I would really consider playing it a little bit different. All right, moving on. Now, Arkansas, what the hell are you doing? Arkansas, and we'll show some of the pictures. Now, we all know what Juneteenth is. Let's talk about Juneteenth was the freeing of the slaves, specifically, and come on, my Harris County brother, specifically the Texas slaves. That's what Juneteenth was. He in Harris County. Listen, we celebrate Juneteenth like Christmas. Juneteenth is huge in Texas. You can go to anybody's house, and next door neighbor, everybody barbecuing for Juneteenth. It's true. So Arkansas decided to host the state of Arkansas decided to host some big Juneteenth celebration. But here was the problem. The panel was all white. The competition, I believe, was all white. And how do they, you know what? It's 2020. How do you not know? How do you not know what this is all about? It just goes to show you guys, people are just socially unconscious. And they have no respect. But I guarantee you, it was deemed a national holiday. I guarantee you they took that day off. I guarantee you they did that. They respected enough to take it off. But what were they doing? We'll show the flyer. I think we got the flyer, what the flyer looks like. And the flyer has those 4 people on there. I believe we have it, but we'll get to it. But Arkansas, here's the deal. You got to do better, Arkansas. You got to do better. If you're going to host an event on a Black holiday, please get some Black folk on the panel. It's just that simple. All right, let's move on from that. Let's get back to Tennessee. If you guys remember last time, Tennessee. That's right. Yeah. All white panel. I know my Harris County brother. I don't get it. You know, we was in Arkansas. We're gonna have to say something. If you go, you're gonna have to speak your mind too, my brother. All right, let's get back to Tennessee. As you guys remember last week, we talked about Tennessee because Tennessee had that Bentley bill, remember? Well, that was about, well, if you get in a car accident from drinking, from drunk driving, and you kill someone and they have a child, well, that Bentley bill said that you have to pay child support. Now, this is something a little different in Tennessee. Okay, tell me what you think about this. Tennessee is saying that they are lowering the age of child marriage. All right, let's take a look at this video and tell me what you think.
A new bill focusing on marriage is making its way through our state legislature and is scheduled for a vote on Thursday. News Channel 5's Olivia Michael explains the legislation is not only concerning for same-sex couples, some also worry it would create a loophole for child marriages.
Beauty of love and joined together in vows of marriage.
In Tennessee, new proposed legislation would create an alternative option for couples to get married.
Do you take Shanae to be your wife?
Specifically, couples with one man and one woman.
I now declare you are husband and wife. Kiss your bride.
They may want something that we don't have access to. They may be sore losers about the Obergefell 2015 Supreme Court decision. But that's the way it goes.
Opponents like Chris Sanders with the Tennessee Equality Project say the legislation discriminates against same-sex couples.
It doesn't take away the ability of us to marry, but it establishes a separate process. And if there's something so great about that process, we should be able to be in on it too.
But opponents say there's another concern. It's not what's in the legislation, it's what's missing from it.
A really scary issue with the bill, though, is the fact that it has no age restriction, which opens the door to child marriage.
Without objection, the motion to reconsider is tabled. Call up the next bill, Mr. Clerk.
This comes after a 2018 law set clear rules about underage marriages in Tennessee.
And we closed some of the loopholes on child marriage a few years ago in Tennessee. But those all stick to the marriage license law. If you establish a separate process, all that doesn't automatically kick in to this newfangled marriage registration system.
Sanders worries the bill is a step backwards for Tennessee and its protection for child brides.
I think the legislature ought to pump the brakes on this one.
In Nashville, Olivia Michael, News Channel 5.
Yeah,
Representative Tom Leatherwood is a sponsor.
Uh-oh. Give me a little feedback. Yeah, this is a tough one. I don't know about this one. This one is, I can't believe, I'm a little surprised at the state of Tennessee. But a lot of the news stations had something totally different. Of course, this is what MSNBC had to say. Take a look.
Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. On this show, we've been highlighting a disturbing new trend on the right where Republicans and their allies play footsie with fringe conspiracy theorists by attempting to smear Democrats as sympathetic to child abuse. It's a dog whistle to QAnon supporters who believe that the Democratic Party is made up of a Satan-worshiping cabal of pedophiles who run a child sex trafficking ring. That is their belief. Now, not to be outdone, last night, Republican star Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia, who has her finger on the pulse of the Republican base as well as anyone, took the rhetoric a step further, doing away with any pretense and just explicitly calling her political opponents pedophiles.
The Democrats are the party of pedophiles. The Democrats are the party of princess predators from Disney. The Democrats are the party of teachers, elementary school teachers trying to transition their elementary school age children and convince them they're a different gender. This is the party of their identity, and their identity is the most disgusting, evil, horrible things happening in our country. And that's why we have to say it.
Now, Green may be the most extreme Republicans in terms of that rhetoric, her willingness to invoke QAnon, but she is far from the only one pushing that exact line of attack. In fact, it's become mainstream. It was the entire basis of the Republican smears against Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, soon to be the first Black woman to sit on the Supreme Court in this nation's history, with the vote for her confirmation coming as early as tomorrow. One of the prolific smear peddlers was Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee.
I do want to go back to the issue about the child predators. Do you believe child predators are misunderstood? So is it your position that child pornography offenders are not pedophiles? Do you believe that it matters to the children and their parents who suffer abuse, what motivation those abusers had? I want to make certain that we protect children and that we continue to do our best effort to protect children. I also want to make certain that we're going to have judges on the federal bench and justices that are going to protect those rights.
All right. A lot to unpack here. What do you guys think about lowering, actually having no age limit on getting married in the state of Tennessee? Me personally, I find this is a problem. I think this does open up the door for pedophilia. I think because you have no age restriction, and I was doing the research, and one was saying, well, this bill, it's not for minors, it's only for 18 and up. Well, if it's only 18 and up, then why propose the bill? Then if you're 18, of course, this is universal. You're an adult. You can do what you want. So what's the purpose of the bill? So can you imagine your child as 12, 13, 14, 15 getting married to a 20-year-old or a 25-year-old? That's a little tough. I have to totally disagree with the state of Tennessee on this. I think they need to revisit that bill. I think they're going to open up the door for, a lot of lawsuits. I think you're going to have a lot of angry parents. You guys know these little young kids. They find these older people. And listen, let's just talk. Let's be real. All you got to do with some of these little young folk, all you got to do is go. You can just buy them some food. Take them to PF Chang. They think they went to a 5-star restaurant, and baby, guess what? They in love. They in love. And you know how some folk are, baby. Listen, you taking the Red Lobster? They made it. They made it. You know how we. You go to Red Lobster, life is over. You made it. You made it. You got the highest rank. Crazy, right? But you know these young folk. You feed them good. You feed their ego, and you buy them stuff. And they in love. It's that simple. And it's just true. Yes, open door for child brides. I know. You know what, Dominic? You're absolutely right. I didn't even touch on that. It does open up the door for human trafficking. Because if it's legal, can you imagine a 25-year-old with, say, a 17-year-old? And they're proposing, and hey, let me take you here. This is my fiance, and he's absolutely correct. Throw her little butt in, throw him into the back of a truck, send him on somewhere outside the country, and guess what? They done made $10,000, $20,000 off that person. They go on to the next, What can you say? I can just say my fiance ran away. My fiance was abducted. I mean, it's legal. They can't say you were with a minor. Tennessee, you're getting this wrong. The Bentley law, I did agree with you on that. I think a lot of people that I talked to about that Bentley law, I'm with you on that. That, I think, was a clever move. But this one, you're missing the mark. You're missing the mark because you are opening up the door. And I'm so glad that brother said that about the human trafficking. You open up the door for a lot of mistakes and a lot of lawsuits and really a lot of death. Because now you're going to have a lot of parents. I mean, just imagine being a parent. This makes you go out and want to buy a firearm, seriously. Because I can't imagine an adult wanted to marry my child. It just, or you get two kids, 14 and 14, saying that they're getting married. Tennessee, you got to get it together. This one, you missed the mark. All right, let's move on. We're moving from Tennessee to the state of Alabama. Now, this one is this one is emotional. And guys, I could not even write this in the script. I couldn't do it. This is real. Tennessee passed a bill called 184. It's Senate Bill 184. And what that is saying is, if you perform medical treatment on someone that is transgender, medical treatment meaning if a man or a woman wanted to kind of transition because they felt they're in the wrong body, if a doctor is caught performing any type of medical procedure, it is considered a felony in the state of Alabama. Take a look at this.
Some families and doctors are now suing the state of Alabama after the governor signed a bill criminalizing transgender health care for minors. Last week, Alabama became the third state in the nation to pass a measure restricting gender-affirming care for transgender and non-binary youth, but it's the first state to actually impose criminal penalties. The law would make providing that care a felony, punishable by up to 10 years in prison, and unless it's blocked by the courts, it's set to go into effect on May 8th. NBC News correspondent Yamiche Alcindor joins us now from the Alabama State Capitol in Montgomery. Good morning. So let's start with the care itself. I know you've talked to some transgender teens. I've spoken with many over the years who talk about how important this gender-affirming care is. What is it they told you?
Well, as you said, Alabama has adopted the most restrictive law in the nation, making it a felony to provide gender-affirming care to transgender young people. And the families that I talked to here in Alabama say that it would be detrimental to young transgender Americans who are seeking to just be who they say they are. I talked to one young lady in particular, Harley Walker. She's 15 years old. She said that this care was what got her through the hardest times of her life. Take a listen.
Just being able to be who I am really kind of saved me. And I was going through such hard mental health at that time. And if I would have continued going on that path, I would have gotten severe depression and even maybe had thoughts about suicide. And because I was not happy. I was not who I was. And so it saved my life pretty much. And it saved my mental health. And it has benefited me in so many ways.
Yeah, this is an emotional story. Alabama, I totally disagree with you on this. You know, I think, and let me get you guys' thoughts, and we'll put it up because I want to read it too. You know, it starts off because if you read the bill, I think, you know what? I think do we have the bill? I think I have parts of the bill. I think we should have it. Do we have it? Let me know. If not, we'll keep going, but because I wanted to read parts of that bill with you all so you can see. But part of the bill states about procedure. Again, if you want to transition, if you live in the state of Alabama, there it is. All right, let's read this bill. So this is the synopsis of the bill. It said this bill will prohibit the performance of a medical procedure or the prescription or assurance of medication upon or to a minor child that is intended to alter the appearance of the minor's gender or delay puberty with certain expectations. This bill will provide disclosure of certain information concerning students to parents by schools. This bill will also establish criminal penalties for violations. As we saw, 10 years in prison. Amendment 621 of the Constitution of Alabama of 1901, as amended by the Amendment 890, now appearing in Section 111.05 of the official recapitulation of the Constitution of Alabama of 1901, as amended, prohibits a general law whose purpose or effect will be to require a new or increased expenditure of local funds from becoming effective with regard, we'll go to the next one, to a local governmental entity without enactment by a 2/3 vote unless it comes to one of the number of specified exceptions. It is approved by, of course, the entity, blah, blah, blah. The purpose or effect of this bill will be to require a new or increased expenditure of local funds within the meaning of the amendment. However, the bill does not require approval of a local government entity enacted by 2/3 vote becomes effective because within one of the specified exceptions contained in the amendment. So basically what this is saying is this: if you're in the state of Alabama, you feel you're in the wrong body, of course, you want to make the transition. What this is saying is any doctor that starts this procedure or performing this procedure, they can face up to 10 years in prison. You know, if you guys notice, and this is what's going on, this is why I disagree with this bill. For one, people are who they are. You know, you can't hide from yourself. I think you see a lot of depressed people in this country because they're not being themselves, and it's so much work to be something else. And that leads to depression, that leads to possible suicide. This is why you see a lot of people, listen, at your job that talk too damn much because they have so much. It's insane, you know. But here's my other problem with this, and you guys tell me what you think. It's starting off as, if you want to transition, you perform the procedure, then we can send you to prison. But you know that's just the beginning. Because what if you're transgender, maybe you moved to Alabama. You didn't even go to Alabama for the procedure. Do you know what's going to happen? That's going to lead to the next thing. And guess what the next thing is going to be? You won't be able to go to the hospital for medical attention. That's going to be next. This is all a domino effect. That's the problem that I have with this bill. Not only does it violate people's human rights and people's moral rights, but it's that it's going to be a domino effect. It's going to lead to other things. I am telling you, give it about a year or two. I'm going to still be doing this show. And I'm going to say, remember 2 years ago when I said this? Because this is exactly what's going to happen. I guarantee you, it might be Bill 185. And it's going to say anyone that is transgender, they might even throw in, because if you notice in that video, look at that, Sweet Home Alabama. If you notice in that video, they kept saying man, woman, because I guarantee you, it's going to lead over to people that don't even want to transition. They're going to say, if you're same gender loving person, if you are transsexual, guess what? You won't be able to receive medical attention at all. I guarantee you that is coming down the pipeline. Mark my words, we will talk about it probably in the next year to the next 2 years. In conclusion, Alabama, you need to get it together. You need to decrease depression, and most of all, you need to decrease suicide rates. And a lot of the times, many of the people that commit suicide are people that are same gender loving, and most of all, people that feel they are transgender. So Alabama, please reconsider. Well, I think the bill's already passed, but we need some folk in Alabama to fight it. So again, Alabama, get it together. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with our big international story. Stay tuned. right, we are now to our international story. And again, thank you all so much for sticking with us. Myself, Kwame, we both appreciate it. Pyro Media Network, thank you guys. You know, we try to keep you guys entertained, give you some real stuff, what's really going on. And remember, these are issues that the news will never talk about. Because nobody's talking about that bill in Alabama. It's not right. Nobody's talking about the bill in Tennessee. These children about to be married. No one's talking about that. This war in Russia is a distraction. It's a distraction. All right. Plastic surgery. We get our nose done. We get our face done. We get the lifts. You know, some of us get these tummy tucks. You know, a lot of people want bigger booties. Hey, you do what you got to do. Well, a lot of people don't go right here in the United States. A lot of people go to either Mexico, but more importantly, they go to the Dominican Republic. There's been many stories of specifically women going to the Dominican Republic for plastic surgery. Some have come back okay, but there's been defects, of course, side effects, of course, to their bodies. But there's been a story in particular of a woman who went to the Dominican Republic, and unfortunately, she passed away. Take a look.
In Health Watch, officials in the Dominican Republic are investigating the death of a New York woman after she died while undergoing plastic surgery on the island. Alexandra Medina is the third American in a month to die during a cosmetic procedure in the Caribbean nation. All three died at the same clinic.
Medina's sister says the 33-year-old contacted the surgeon through Facebook after doctors in the U.S. told her that she needed to lose weight before getting liposuction.
Joining us now is board-certified plastic surgeon, Dr. David Cangello. Doctor, the first question, it must drive you crazy when you see people who reach out on social media or who try to find cheaper alternatives than going to somebody like yourself for a procedure. Is going to another country for plastic surgery inherently dangerous?
It is, Vlad. I mean, so what's interesting about this is that it's become difficult enough for patients to find doctors in the United States that are safe. And part of the reason for that is because, the way people market themselves here in the United States, it's become very confusing for patients to figure out who's certified to do their procedures. Now, when you go to another country, you just have no way of knowing for sure who it is that you're getting. And, as an example, one of these women had a pulmonary embolism. It's possible that if the clinician isn't certified or they don't, have the proper credentials, they may not screen the patients properly, or they may not take the proper precautions during the procedure, and it can lead to serious complications like this.
I think that's such a great point, because even here you have people conducting sort of a cosmetic services. It's not surgery, but services that, were not ever sort of cosmetic doctors. They
Joan
might
Rivers
have been
comes to mind.
Right. They might have been something. I don't know. They could be a podiatrist, but then you can start injecting people or whatever. That's happening here. So I can only imagine what's happening in other countries.
Exactly. I mean, that's a great point. It is actually happening here. And as I say, there's no real way for people to know exactly who they're getting, because again, that comes to marketing. People market themselves on the internet. They post credentials that make them seem like they're, qualified, board certified plastic surgeons. Yeah. And it's very difficult for consumers to sift through and understand exactly what the credentials of their practitioner is. So, when you go to another country, it's
I want to touch on a couple of points that the doctor talked about. He said, finding doctors that are certified. That is that's very tough. I would recommend there should be a website. I know when you work for the district, there's a website to check to see the teacher's certificated. You get to see their license. You get to see their certifications. There should be a website for doctors. They mentioned that it's hard to find, which is true. She hit the doctor up on Facebook. That's tough. Now, people are marketing on Facebook. There are legitimate businesses on Facebook. But that's a little difficult for me. That's a little tough. Get copies of medical records. Yeah, I'm a little on the fence with that, because you can easily go on Microsoft Word and create some paperwork. That doesn't mean that that the paperwork is legit. So the medical records, I would try to get as many legit medical records. Of course, I would hit up Yelp. I would even call just other companies, maybe other locals, to maybe get to try to see any type of recommendations on that business. But the only reason a lot of people go into Dominican Republic, they're going to Mexico, of course, because it's cheaper. I would always say, if there's a surgery that you're willing to get, or you know someone that's willing to get that surgery, please assist them. Please go with them. Please do the research with them. You guys make a personal visit without them even knowing, just to see the environment. Ask questions, and I cannot express this more. Ask questions, because we cannot have any more deaths due to plastic surgery from people that are uncertified, and more importantly, people that are not qualified. We're going to take one quick commercial break. What is the real reality? Coming up next.
Pyro Media Network is a proactive network focused on providing innovative space for content creators and entrepreneurs. PMN is dedicated to giving its viewers a diverse entertainment experience while helping content creators elevate their production, engagement, and overall branding. To date, PMN has reached over 1 million viewers and listeners internationally, produced over 72 successful shows with high ratings and fanfare, and has housed over 135 content creators, brands, and businesses through entertainment and consulting services exclusive to Pyro Media. Pyro Media Network is a space that makes you feel at home. So if you or someone you know wants to make an impact, then contact PMN by visiting www.pyromedianetwork.com, and we will take your production to the next level.
All right, thank you guys for watching. It's leading me to this moment. What is the real reality? I want to touch on the homeless in here in LA, and just dealing with homeless. How do we resolve this homeless? Back, professionally, I work with homeless young people. I even work with homeless professionals. This is a very touchy subject. I do believe that it is possible. I do believe that we have the infrastructure here in Los Angeles. As you see some of the pictures here, we're going to put some of the stats up really, really quickly of some of the cities that are dealing with homeless. As you can see, New York is number one with 77,000, almost 78,000. LA is second, 63,000. I think the number is quite higher. As a matter of fact, this is based on 2020, which is 2 years ago, but it's the most recent data. I think it's around 68,000. Then you got Seattle, San Jose, Oakland, San Francisco, San Diego, Phoenix, Santa Ana, and DC. I think the key is you have to put the money in the right place. You can get the housing and you can put the people there, but that's not going to solve it. It's not going to resolve it. So this is what you have to do. We have to get programs. We have to get programs where religion is involved, where meditation is involved, the right foods, exercise, to where these people, even counseling, to where these people are not only dealing with the issues, but they're also dealing with themselves. So again, this is a problem, but together we can resolve it. So let's stick together. And again, when you see someone that's homeless, help them out, and definitely, because that will also help you as well. So again, thank you guys so much. I'm Larry Ulrich. Thank you, Kwame, for a wonderful show. We made it right on time, baby. So for more information, go to pyromedianetwork.com. You can check me out on Real Reality. And again, thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful night.